Welcome to another edition of Beyond Insight. I'm your host, Hasan Clay, and I have a fabulous episode today for you. We're going to kind of piggyback on an episode that I kind of did last episode, and I want to talk about energy. And really, in order to maintain your peace, you don't have to match someone else's energy. And really, because when you do, to be honest with you, I want you to know this part here. You actually lose control when you call yourself matching energy, matching emotional energy with someone. So, have you ever dealt with someone when they're talking? It seems like when you're talking to them, you get sarcasm or this so-called wit that's supposed to be sarcasm, or they escalate to something chaotic, or they tend to talk down to you or talk rudely to you, or various things that really is just not nice. This is energy. And when you are then matching that energy, because what they normally want from you, because really, they're really trying to trick you into something that actually lets them off the hook. And I want you to know the game that's actually being played in this particular thing. When they are coming at you all snipey and are sarcastic and things of that nature, they're throwing shade and all these old type of things here. They really are looking to be in a position of trying to get you to really not come at them, or get you off of what it is that you're actually talking about, in order for them not to have to hold accountability. Now, in our culture, the unfortunate part is that we have tended to make bad behavior something acceptable. And when you then, because what happens, let's look at this, right? You're talking to someone, give me an example. You're talking to someone, and then all of a sudden they just start something. Well, if you would have thought about that before you did it, maybe you wouldn't have this problem, right? Just throwing something out there, which, like, damn, you talking to me like that? Why are you talking to me like that, right? But we have kind of rewarded in our society that behavior. We have given that behavior a pass, because what it looks like is that there's somebody, they don't take no mess, they ain't with that foolishness, they ain't with that BS, they this and they that, and they come real. Or we have a whole lot of crazy sayings that really is not good. It's not kind. It doesn't really produce positive engagement. And what happens is, when you throw shade at me, I heard a person say this one time: you throw shade on me, I'm throwing it back. Right? And so then it becomes that tit for tat behavior. And I want you to really look at it. If you are trying to deal with somebody like that, you're actually getting ready to lose. And it's three things I want us to look at here. First, right, is that this is an entrapment piece that's taking place here. If I can get you, and these kind of, actually, all three of these kind of really just weave into one another pretty solidly. But the first one is called like the emotional entrapment, the energy entrapment, so to speak. So here's what happens. If I am saying something to you, and then you come off with this energy, the energy is off-putting and really just disheartening, or it's disappointing. Really, it's a really disappointing behavior. But we don't show the disappointment what we do is we jump right in with the energy. So now they're here, and what you want to do is match them or go higher, because what you want to show is I ain't with that foolishness. You ain't gonna come at me with all that, and I show you I can get just as down and dirty with you as you get. What is that? I want you to look at what is that. You're not winning anything, okay? Really, you're not winning anything. And if you are trying to get some results from a conversation, this is a surefire way not to have it, because what you're going to do, I mean, at some point, and this is probably going to run into something else, run into another point of mine, is like, who can be the best bully? Right? When it really comes down to it, who's going to be the best bully? Or who can stand their ground? Who can pump out their chest the most? Or who can really seem to be, really, at the end of the day, the most obnoxious in the situation, right? But in the moment, it doesn't feel that way. And you're giving over to a situation where you're actually losing your peace. Because I know for myself, when I have engaged in that sort of, because I'm not going to sit here and act like I haven't. I have engaged in that type of behavior. At the end of it, I'm like, dang, man, I still walking away with less than what I have walked into the situation with. I have, let's say this conversation has went 1, 2, 3 hours of matching this intensity, right, of energy. This intense energy, it's draining. It's like, oh my God, I need to go to sleep behind all this, right? Because it's like, God, man, it's like, can I get, and then nobody actually ever gets, well, to be honest with you, the one who is actually bringing the issue, walk away unfulfilled. The person you was having that conversation with, they might be faking unfulfillment, but they actually got their fulfillment. Why? Because they didn't have to deal with the stuff that you were actually talking about. They didn't have to answer or stand accountable for what it is that you was bringing to the table. And so, it's one issue where I know one time I'm having a conversation and with a former partner, and we're talking, and then they trying to make a point. After I was saying this, they make a point, then they walked out and closed the door. Right, as I am trying to speak, they actually walk out and then close the door. Now that was like crazy energy, right? Like, I don't want to hear that. I said what I said, and I did what I did, and here's my point, and bam, walking out, close the door. It's like, wait a minute, what is that? And so, of course, I escalate. And so then it becomes a situation where me escalating loses the point of what it is that I am actually trying to get across, right? And that's kind of like my second point. When you jump into those situations, when you escalate, you automatically lose your point because you escalated and because nobody hears you. And really, it's not the loudest person that gets their point across. And we've been told that, you got to be the one who make the most noise. I know I used to have a counselor used to always say when I was in, you say the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? what? You know what I mean? And so somebody can actually bring you a lie, but because they brought it to you first, then you're going to believe that, right? And so the person who's making all that noise, doing all that chatter, is not the one who's actually having, they have the higher position, they have the better position. And because you're now trying to raise to that level, you're thinking because if you talk louder, if you say this, if you curse more, or you come up with more snipe lines, or you trying to be more sarcastic than the other person, and you're doing a whole lot of put downs and things that nature, as if you are going to get peace or you're going to win your point. Only thing you're doing is fighting. So all you're doing is fighting. And really, the object of really having a conversation is not to have a fight. And that's what we miss when we get caught into these situations. We miss that point that we're having a fight. And the object of it is to kind of come to some type of mutual understanding, get some solutions settled. I don't want everyone to think about this. I want you to think about this part. When you are fighting, have you ever came up to a solution? And when you are then trying to get a point across and trying to come up with some type of resolution about an issue that you're having, the last thing you want to do is get pulled into the fight. And here, the last thing I'm going to look at as we talk about this subject here, you have to maintain discipline in having a conversation. You know, sometimes it seems like everybody running around. When they start having conversations, it seems like everybody just going to having ADHD at moments, right? It's just really, it's all over the damn place, right? You hear, then you hear, then you there, then you hear. It's like you get flooded with a whole bunch of foolishness. And that's something that you don't want if you're bringing a concern to the table. If you're on the workforce, you're dealing with a co-worker, and this is how you don't need that type of energy. And everybody knows, especially on the workforce, we talk about this as spouses and relatives and things of nature there. But everybody know a co-worker who just always got to have something going on, they got to say something smart out their mouth, got to always be clapping at somebody all the time, or everything is a clap. And if they can't even talk to you, they may even have a concern, but they so high conflict, they got so much ACP going on, high conflict personality traits going on, that everything has to be a clap. That's how they talk in clap terms. And it's like, oh my God, here goes this person again. And then at some point, somebody's going to be there, and here they're going to match that energy. Why? Because it's like they get too full. You get full. What I mean is, you get tired of them. And that's the way they pull you in too, because they know people getting tired of them. And at some point, somebody getting tired of their stuff, then they want to go at it. Then what's probably getting ready to happen is a fight going to ensue. A physical fight is going to ensue. Because people get tired of it. I know and this is probably something a little difficult to understand, where people been at work, they had a conflict on the job, they see, somebody go out in the car, get their gun, come back and shoot somebody on the job, right? And the only thing it had to do, somebody had to really exercise a little bit more discipline, exercise a little bit more control, or manage themselves. I don't really use the word control often because what I really use is manage. They need to manage themselves a little bit more. And then just is really taking somebody's life worth it? Is really killing someone or unaliving someone, for those who are be hearing this on TikTok, is unaliving someone really worth the situation? Because here's what's getting ready to happen. You're going to take yourself away from the family, your family. You're going to take them away from their family. Chaos is going to ensue. People going to have, there are other people who want to be who's going to be bystanders, who's going to be indirectly or directly affected by what just took place, by witnessing the situation, knowing the situation. And so you have this major fallout that take place, right? Even if it's just a fight and nobody gets killed, even if it's a fight. And I know I've been caught in a situation like that before, right? And many of you know my story, and I'm not going to just go back over it right here, but many of you know my story of how I even got caught, pulled into a situation, and then anger ensues, because this is what really takes place. You start building anger, you start building anger, you start building anger. And you have to, you must, it's mandatory that you manage yourself in that situation. You have to manage yourself in that situation. And sometimes we have to do the things that, in many terms, so our culture says not to do. And this is some backward stuff sometimes, but we get labeled with going to tell, right? We get labeled with telling, right? And that cat a snitch, blah, 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 blah. You can't handle the business. You got to go put the people in the business. All of those type of stuff here. But it really is about maintaining your peace. Now, if you're a person, I always say this. Now, if you're a person who out there, if you play basketball, for many of us who know basketball, right? And you out there just hacking away, just fouling like crazy. And you just fouling. Then somebody shoots you with a bowl. And then you crying, oh my God, you fouling, rough, you didn't see this, he fouling. Ain't nobody trying to really hear that when they know that you're doing all this hacking, right? And so you have to really then, if you're a person who brings that type of energy, and someone is saying to you that you are bringing this type of energy, what I am saying to you is, listen, don't take offense. Don't try to work your sarcasm, and don't try to clap and snap, and don't try to throw shade, and don't go for the tit for tat and all this old type of things here. Just listen, take in, and even ask someone, okay, you observe me this way. Tell me, advise me on how I can deal with that. If you're a person who wants to be a good person, and if you are a person who normally don't get pulled into situations, and you're trying to convey what it is that you are looking for from another person, escalating will never be the answer to your question. It's never the answer that never going to be the answer that you need in order to get satisfaction and contentment. So I want us to really walk away from this episode with the idea of, I want to know how to manage myself when I'm dealing with somebody who escalates. I want to make sure I understand my boundaries. And this is what we call protecting your peace. I want to understand how to maintain and protect my boundaries without coming off hostile or aggressive or anything along those lines. I want to make sure that I don't engage. And even if someone is engaging with you that way, I'm not saying that you don't call it out, but it's a way that you call it out. And you just ask the question, was that really necessary for us and having a conversation, for you to take this type of position or posture with me? Was that really necessary? I'm not coming at you aggressively. I'm not coming at you hostilely. I'm not coming at you any type of way. I'm not talking about your mama. I'm not doing any of this. I'm just trying to have a conversation with you about a concern that I have with you. And is that necessary? And even for those who are in relationships or who have intimate relationships, intimate meaning that they're very close. That can be siblings, that can be father, son, father, daughter, mother, son, mother, daughter, father, husband, wife, whatever it might be. When you're having these type of intimate relationships, you think you actually can get a pass for being this particular way. And that's not true. That's not true. You really aren't deserving of a pass. You really aren't deserving of a pass because the only thing we're doing is rewarding bad behavior. And that bad behavior has to be called out because that person needs to do something different. And we still need to be able to say it with firmness, but with gentleness, with compassion, with empathy, with the correct correction in it, and also letting them know what it is, what is not acceptable. You clapping at me is not something that I'm not taking that. I don't have to take that. And if this is something that you choose to do, then maybe I may not need to speak with you. Maybe I might need to rethink our relationship. And they may clap even in that. I ain't gonna sit there and tell her that. And at that point, don't engage. Try your best to not engage. It's a story. As a Muslim, it's a story, and I'll end with this. It's a story of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, and his good friend Abu Bakr. They were sitting next to the Kaaba, next to the house of worship, and a man had came up and started insulting Abu Bakr. Right? And what happened is in this, why Abu Bakr was remaining silent. The Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, was smiling. He was sitting there smiling, right? And then at some point, Abu Bakr couldn't take it no more. The guy got in him, and he had got it. And so he started clapping back. And so the Prophet got up, Prophet, peace and blessing be upon him, got up and walked away. Right? And I give this story because I know there may be non-Muslims here as well, but I just want to give you a story. I want you to catch the story. Right? Because I think the story has importance in it. So he gets up and walk away. Let Abu Bakr catch up with him, say, hey, man, why you walk away? Basically, I'm kind of paraphrasing the conversation. Hey, man, why you get up and walk away? He told him, while you were remaining silent, the angels were with you. And when you start coming back, the angels left. And some narrations say, that the shaitan with him, the devil's had appeared, came into play. And he said he don't sit with them. He don't sit in places that he's set with them. Right. Even in this situation here, understanding that when this type of conflict is taking place, that the energy of righteousness and piety and purity and all those good things are with you when you are doing the right thing. But when the escalation of situations come back and then the back and forth start taking place, all the goodness, meaning at this point, the angels or whatever your spiritual expression might be, leaves. It's no longer there with you. And you have nothing but the demons with you, the devils with you, or the shaitans with you, or whatever however you say it, You have the evil forces that's there with you. That then allows the situation to continue to escalate. And so at that point, we just conduits for more evil and more chaos. Is that something that you really looking to be? Is that something that who you really want to show up as? I want you to think about that as I end this podcast for today. So, I got something I want to show everybody, and I got it here with me. I finally this is a not for sale, it's not for resale copy right now, but finally got my book published, my second book published, right? And this book here is The Mom Effect, and I really wrote this book with men in mind, and how a lot of men walk through life not really being able to speak to a number of things, and or even sometimes trying to avoid the chaos that they're really suffering a lot of silence, right? And this is a book to show, kind of talk about how this situation can be. I was, definitely brothers, for the brothers, for the men out here, especially black men. I know, especially black men, right? This book here is going to be, I think it'll be a key. As I see, it's like 70 something pages. It's a very small book. It's a very easy read. A couple of stories. I got a couple of characters that I followed through the whole life of this book, to try to illustrate a point. And I think not only for the brothers, but for women as well. So you can get an understanding of what on the mind of men a lot of times, right? What's on the mind of men. And that's okay, because real talk, we get bombarded with a whole bunch of things that's on women's mind, with how women think, what's going on with women and stuff in nature there. And that's okay. I think you should tell your story. I think you should tell your narrative. Even though sometimes that narrative may not be something that we might even agree about, right? But you get to tell your narrative. We get to have a conversation without the energy being taken beyond where it needs to be. Same thing we're talking about now. But here in this book, this is actually just a continuation of my first book, Taming the Storm, as well. But still in the same high conflict decoding and de-escalating, right? I'm still on the same trajectory. And right now you can get this book on Amazon. Of course, you put in The Mom Effect. That's MUM, mom's the word, right? The Mom Effect. And of course, my name with that, Hasan Clay, 1S. You can find this book there. It's live. It's in ebook and in paperback, depending on how you like it. Also, I probably will have this book on my website at some point in the near future to be sold as well on hasanclay.net, along with my other book as well. And I really hope that people will grab this book, and let's do some work, and helping brothers, let's do some work, and being able to get beyond isolation, seclusion, and things of nature there, and suffering in silence. Because a lot of us are suffering in silence, and a lot of times we don't know how to do something different. And I give an offering of how to do something different. And am I the end all be all? No. But I think I have some answers to a situation, and I hope you share in the answers that I may have, and even spark a discussion about it. And this isn't in no way, shape, or form, or fashion is this book about putting anyone down, especially women, and especially women. This isn't about putting them down or making them feel whatever. or this isn't a woman bashing book by no shape, form, or fashion, because y'all know I don't do that type of action anyway. Right? But I do call things as I see it. I do say things as I look at it. And I gave it to it in a story form to be a little bit more entertaining, to be a little bit more captivating and capturing, and so you can get it. Of course, there's a little reflection pieces and a reflection page or two in there, so you can reflect and think about and write some of your stuff down. As always, I'm serious about that. Getting your thoughts out and being able to put your thoughts out. So again, right now you can find this book on Amazon, and by all means, please continue to support. And thank you for supporting me here at the Beyond site, at this podcast. Thank you for supporting me in this journey here. We're looking to continue to bring more content, great content. Probably bringing more people in to have discussions with on various different topics. And thank y'all for your support. YouTube. It's all about YouTube, y'all. I'm trying to push the YouTube page. I'm building it so far. We got several people on there now. I think over 100 something people who have subscribed to the page. And I want us to be able to build this page up even more, right? I want us to be able to share the content. Let's share this. Let's have a conversation. Let's discuss some of the same things that we're talking about. That's the only way we can learn from each other. That's the only way that we can get it. It's a scripture that says, we were created to know one another, not despise one another. So we have to have behavior that allow us to get to know each other and not hold each other into contempt and hold each other in ridicule and I'm better than you and you worse than me, and there's no inferiority situations that's taking place, because we all here together, y'all. Real talk. As the famous words of Rodney King once said, can't we all just get along? We're gonna be here for a while, right? And that's real. We're gonna be here for a while. There's not going to be another being that's going to substitute human beings. We've been being human a very long time, and we have to be able to be good with one another. This is just my offering in trying to get to that space based upon what I've been through in life and the direction I try to understand and go towards in life. So by all means, please continue to support, share the content, and you can if you want to look at or catch up with me. Of course, I'm on Facebook as Hasan Clay. You can catch me on all other and on LinkedIn as Hasan Clay, and on any other platform as the Hasan Clay Experience. Definitely on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, the Hasan Clay Experience. Please, please, please share. Please, please, please subscribe. Please, please, please support. And I want to thank you. And we're going to see you again every Monday at 7 p.m. This is when this thing go out. And talk to you soon. Y'all have a great week and a blessed week and a safe weekend. We're going to see you here again next Monday, 7 p.m.